What's going on, guys? TGIF. Glad that we made it to see another Friday. Guys, something very unprecedented is going on. I never actually remember the last time it was May and it was like under 80 degrees outside. I mean, guys, at this point, you heard it here first. With this weather, I'm talking in Pennsylvania. I think next week, I don't look at the daytime temps. I look at the overnight temps. If the overnight temps is like in the 40, oh, hold on, guys. All right, notification here. But guys, if the overnight temp is in the 40s, then like at that point, that's considered still cold to me. So like, I looked at the overnight temps for last week. I think for next week. I think all of next week's highs is going to be like in the 60s. I don't think it's going to break 70 next week. But guys, I don't know what the hell's going on with this weather, but I got a feeling whenever it gets it's like real cold like this, if the weather doesn't break by May, that means it's going to be 90 degrees in October. So you guys heard it here first. This is going to be a very elongated summer, to say the least. But guys, I got like a good half an hour. I probably can't stay on this live for too long, but I got some time today to go over. This is episode 49. Guys, we've been in business now, 2016? It's going to be 10 years in October. And like, guys, I'm telling you, like, time flies. There was a bunch of shit that, like I said, scared the hell out of me. I'm talking from 2016 to like 2018. Like, it took me at least a good, 3 or 4 years to see the cycle. I'm talking like good and bad. It took me at least a good 3 or 4 years, man, to just understand the ins and outs. I'm talking of the things that, like I said, has something to do with customers. Just, the expenses, what can happen, will happen, the whole 9 yards. But one thing, like I said, that I'm glad that we made it through is like the insurance claims and like the BS that we had to go through. And guys, I remember at least 4 or 5 of them like it was yesterday. And like one of the insurance, well, actually, was that? Yeah, that was an insurance claim. The biggest one, I mentioned this in like our earlier GMC talks, that sprinkler that went off. And like, at this point, guys, there's water underneath the bridge. We learned from that scenario, but that sprinkler job, like that sprinkler that we accidentally opened up. I mean, I think that was like a $50,000 or $60,000 claim. I know that was like in the tens of thousands of dollars, but like that got settled out. But like that was in 2017 or 2018. That all happened, like I said, within our first 3 years of being in business. But like that was one isolated incident. But one thing I'm gonna go over is, like I said, everything that every bad thing that happens, guys, like, and everything I'm telling y'all, like I'm recycling a lot of sayings that I already explained before in previous GMC talks. But like every bad thing that happens, like I said, that's an opportunity for you to learn from it. Like at the end of the day, like I said, guys, it's up to you to, like I said, make sure that you end your whatever you're trying to do, whatever your journey is, you got to make sure it ends on a positive note. Like, if something bad happens to you, like I said, you got to rebound from it. But like, not to get too far off topic, guys. Like, this had to have been like within our first year or so in business. And at this point, guys, this is like when we started dealing with those home warranty companies heavy. I remember, guys, like one of our first insurance claims, and like, guys, I had to live and learn. This is before I knew that, like I said. And for you guys that don't know, I don't care if this is auto or if this is like, I'm talking general liability insurance for you business owners. Any insurance claims, guys, like I said, if you can settle out of pocket without using your insurance, I mean, it's important for you guys to have insurance. Don't get me wrong. Make sure you cover it, but to avoid putting insurance claims in, I recommend you guys paying out of pocket, because like I said, once those premiums go up, whatever the out-of-pocket expense was, if your insurance company raises your premiums, it's going to take years for the price to go back down. And like, what I'm getting ready to tell y'all, like I said, this is before I knew about this shit. I'm like, you know what? I'm paying at that time, I was paying like $300 or $400 a month for general liability insurance. I'm like, I'm paying all this money in insurance. I mean, whatever breaks, this is why we have insurance. But guys, making a long story short, this is like my first, year or so in business. Like at this point, guys, like I'm all over the place. I'm not in one area. I'm in Atlantic City, for you Jersey guys. I'm in South Jersey. I'm in North Jersey. I'm down there, in Allentown. I'm all over, guys. Like our radius was whoever needed us. But make a long story short, guys, like I started dealing with a lot of attic units. I'm talking like air handlers and furnaces that are on the second, third floors, in attics. But like, one thing I didn't realize at that time was, like I said, not every pull down ladder, for you guys that deal with attic jobs, not every pull down ladder is sturdy. I'm talking like, for you guys that don't know, like I said, you either got one or two prototypes. You got the metal ladders, which are rated for heavier weight, the sturdier ones, those are like the best pull down ladders to like deal with. But at the end of the day, you don't know what you're gonna run across. So like that's your preference, but what you see sometimes is not up to, that's not in your control. But like, guys, I had a customer, this had to have been in 2016, probably before 2017. I had a customer, this is like in an older home. I forgot what the issue was. I know this is in the summertime, but we came out there. She said that something's going on with the air handler in the attic. And like, guys, I pulled a damn ladder down, and like, no bullshit, that ladder was like one of those old wooden flimsy ladders. And like, it's so flimsy that, guys, like, with one hand you can do this and the whole damn ladder will move. And like, something told me, guys, like, this is why it's very important for you not to go away from your gut instinct. Something told me to just not go up there. I like I said, tell the customer that, like I said, the ladder is unsturdy. Or at that time, if I had a ladder, I should have used the ladder for my truck. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I got to do. And guys, I tried to go up that ladder. And like, as soon as I didn't even make it up into the attic. As soon as I got like 4 rungs on the ladder, it split. And like, I was like, damn. But make a long story short, I don't know what the issue was. It wasn't like a major issue. We fixed the issue, and then I didn't notice this. Like I said, as soon as I got done, out of courtesy, I just told the customer, hey, one of the steps broke on the ladder. Instantly, guys, I'm thinking like, yo, this ladder has to be like damn near ancient. I mean, the customer already knew that this shit was like falling apart, but that customer made a big deal out of it. And I'm like, you know what? As a matter of fact, I got insurance. I'll call it in. They'll contact you and blah, blah, blah. I thought nothing of it, guys. I'm thinking, hey, once again, in 2016, if you're paying them like $300 or $400 a month, and at that point, it's their job to take care of you if you need them. So, guys, like I said, make a long story short, I'm thinking nothing of it. At that point, once again, remember the prices. I'm telling you, I'm paying like $350, $360 a month. That was in 2016. So I left the job. Customer's cool about it because she was like, all right, well, I'll just wait for your insurance people to call me, yada, yada. I'm thinking the whole time I'm like a fucking broken step. I mean, what is that, $50, $60? Like, it's not really, it's just a small piece of 2x4 if anything. Guys, I get a call from the damn claims adjuster. He was like, yeah, you went to X and X residence, yada, yada. And then, she said that you broke one of the steps, yada, yada. I'm like, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was out there a couple weeks ago. This guy basically said that the customer's trying to get a whole new pull down ladder for like $3,000. And I'm like, at least, I'm like, at this point, I can show you pictures of the ladder, but I'm like, it was only one rung, like one step that broke. I'm like, I'm not the smartest guy in the books, but I'm pretty sure it can be fixed. It's not like the whole thing came down, but the claims adjuster was like, yeah, well, that's what she's saying. She wants a whole new ladder. She wants a whole new pull down ladder thing. I'm like, look, I can give you pictures, but I can show you exactly like, the damage that was done. Make a long story short, guys, like that got settled out. And like, I thought nothing of it. I'm thinking the insurance, the claims adjuster guy was like going to be on our side once seeing the pictures. And I'm like, this is what it is. But like, make a long story short, guys, I never heard anything back from that lady or from the insurance company. But I get my bill, and I get my email notification 2 months later. My damn insurance premium went up by like another $100. My shit was like almost $500. And like, sure enough, I called them. I'm like, hey, how come the spike in the price? Oh yeah, this is all related to such and such claim. We ended up paying out $2,000 for a whole new pull down ladder assembly. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, y'all actually paid that out? I'm like, if I would have knew that, I would have gave her fucking $500. I could have gave her a couple $100 out of pocket to actually fix it. Y'all ended up paying way more. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm the one that's actually paying more for it. I'm like, like I said, guys, this is real shit. By the amount that they increased my insurance premium by, I could have paid that out of pocket, and for like probably half or a quarter of the price. And I'm like, guys, that was a very expensive lesson. And I'm like, at that point, guys, from that moment, like I said, growing up, I didn't have to deal with insurance claims. The only thing I knew was that insurance was important to have, but I never really, there was nothing in my life before 2016 in which I had, like, nothing happened that, in my life that, that made it important for me to know how insurance claims work. But like, that was my first time in that situation. And I'm like, you know what, man? In the future, like I said, if I can pay a couple $100 out of pocket, insurance is good to have, but I don't like dealing with them because ultimately, guys, like I said, like in that insurance company, I think it's called Hiscox. For you guys, I think that's small business insurance. For you guys that don't know them, like we dealt with them a long time ago, but they ended up dropping us after that claim, after paying out $2,000. And once again, guys, we're paying almost $400 a month. No claims, nothing, no hiccups, nothing. But like, they ended up dropping us after that claim. But like, I learned a lot from that one situation. But guys, unfortunately, the learning doesn't stop. So like, you're gonna have mistakes and all that down the line. So Fast forward, man, to the second claim that happened. Now, guys, I mean, I'm already privy to like pull down ladders. At that point, guys, from that that one isolated incident, I ended up buying, putting telescoping ladders in all the trucks. So like now, like if a customer does have I'm talking from 2016 on, if a customer did have a flimsy pull down ladder, we're not even going to use it. We can just go to the truck and get our own ladder and jump up in the attic like that. So like, guys, that's one scenario that was in the past. We don't have to deal with that again. But now, guys, like fast forward to 2017, man. Like now, it's not just me now. Now, like I got a couple more guys, and like guys, once again, like you got to understand, like your standard operating procedures. Most of this should come from worst case scenarios, like either something you seen or something you don't want to have happen. So like everything should be preventative. And like I said, I'm talking for you business owners that got employees. Like, I mean, I don't care if it sounds repetitive or tedious. You want to avoid problems. You want to avoid, like I said, physical harm to your employees. Like if you guys got people out there working for you, if it's something you can tell them, or like I said, or some type of, training you can give them. Like I said, no owner, I don't care who, what type of company you got, HVAC or not. No business owner wants to get that call from the employee or from a customer saying that one of their guys fell or hurt themselves. And like I said, guys, me personally, I don't want to spend none of my time in the hospital. I already did my time in the hospital, guys, doing HVAC. I told myself, like I said, especially once I lost weight, I'm not trying to go the fuck back in the hospital. That's just, that's just how my mentality, So like what that means, I'm talking health-wise, taking care of yourself, and two, like I said, working smart, and like I said, and I've seen this before. I'm pretty sure it's people out there that still got that Superman mentality, like I said, jumping across, roofs, jumping inside attics, not knowing what's on the ground in the attic. I mean, you can't really help those type of people out, but I like to believe that most of you guys got common sense and you're not going to do stupid shit, because who wants to spend half their summer in the hospital, But if you want to do that, then like I said, hats off to you. But guys, with that being said, if you got employees, then like I said, the biggest thing I learned, man, like I said, and this wasn't for me doing it. This is, like I said, something I assumed. And you know what happened, guys? Like once you assume, the old saying goes, you make an ass out of you and me. And like, I think one of my guys was putting in it had to be an evac coil. I don't think it was an air handler, but he put in the evac coil in the he put in the evac coil in the attic. And like, I mean, guys, like I said, we went over this 1,000 times, but this is just that one time where, like I said, not double checking and triple checking, and came back to, like I said, bite us in the ass. He put in a evac coil. I think it was a horizontal coil, but one thing he didn't do was once he put the coil in, he put everything together. He didn't test the drain, meaning, like I said, not pour water in the drain. He didn't pour water in the pan. And like for you guys that don't know what I mean by that, I'm talking on new installs. If you put in a new evac coil or a new air handler, you want to take the door off the coil and pour water in the pan and make sure the water flows from the pan through the drain. You do not want to just pour water inside the drain and, like I said, end up, if the pan is, like I said, not pitched properly, then like I said, you're going to have some type of issues. Hold on. No, you good. You're going to have some type of issues. And like, that's the biggest issues. I mean, that's, like I said, guys, I take full accountability because, like I said, I was the guy that trained him. But like I said, make a long story short, he ended up, putting in that evac coil. He tested the drain, which is, like I said, that was important to make sure the drain is water's flowing out the drain. But he didn't test the drain pan itself on the coil. And like I said, sure enough, that coil wasn't. It was level, but it was like pitched backwards, like slightly, just by a quarter inch. And like I said, the unit ran, but within a couple of weeks, like that's when we got that recall from the customer that said that they got sealing damage. And like I said, guys, we had to and like at that point we didn't go through the insurance. I mean, I learned my lesson from the first incident. We ended up just paying out of pocket for the customer to get, like I said, the carpentry guy to fix the drywall. But like, guys, like I said, and from that moment, everything I'm telling y'all, something good came from this scenario. Like the first incident with the broken pull down ladder, at that point, that is why we got telescoping ladders on our truck, and it's been like that since 2016. That all came from, like I said, us breaking the ladder. And two, that scenario I just told you, with the drain line being backed up. All right, well, at this point, guys, it could have happened to me. It could have happened to anyone else. Anyone that's rushing, assuming just because anything's brand new, you're not going to have problems, you still need to cover your ass. Because, like, and I told my guy, I'm like, look, it is what it is. Like, this could happen at any time. But I'm like, at this point, we have to take our time and make sure we cover our ass to make sure this doesn't happen again. If that means taking an extra 10 minutes, I mean, I know it could be hot as hell in the attic. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be a perfect 70-degree day in the attic. No, it's going to be hot as hell. You've been up there all day. Like, shit, you trying to get done. You trying to get out the attic. I know. We all been there. We all doing it. But the point is, you just don't want to overlook something, and now it's going to be a bigger pain in the ass to fix, all because of something you overlook. And I'm like, tell you what, in the future, make that part of your routine. I mean, I'm talking once you run the unit or before you even run the unit. Take the door off and, like, say, get a couple of bottles of water in the funnel. Pour, flush it from the pan out. Don't start from the drain. Start from the pan itself, and make sure water flows. Once the water rises on the pan, make sure it flows out the drain. You do not want to, like I said, overlook it, because like I said, I know sometimes you can get lucky, guys. Like I said, doing these ABC installs, sometimes you can get lucky, but all it takes is that one job, guys. And like I said, I mean, most customers are cool, but you're gonna get that one customer that could be cool on the surface, but when something goes wrong, that's when all hell is going to break loose. And like I said, we all been through it, guys. And like, I mentioned this in the title of this video. Like I said, the shit that used to that's the beauty of experience, guys. The shit that used to terrify you before, eventually if you get past it, you're going to sit back and laugh at it. Like now, like I said, this is like a no-brainer for me to test the pan. I'm talking on the new install. It's a no-brainer for me to test the pan to make sure that, if that pan, if water overflows the pan before it comes out the drain, all right, let me get my level and let me make sure that, like I said, the pan itself, make sure the coil itself is level, But like I said, someone's going to go through that. Like everything I'm telling y'all, this is like a revolving door. Not everybody's going to learn from like other people's experiences. Unfortunately, some people got to fuck up. And like I said, these insurance companies, I mean, it's up to you to figure out if this insurance stuff is a scam. But like I said, it is what it is. But all I know is, like, guys, I'm telling you from experience, once these insurance companies raise your claims, I'm talking auto or business insurance, it doesn't really matter. But like, once these companies raise your rates, like, I mean, who wants to deal with that shit? It has nothing to do with why the claim got put in. So like, I don't care if it was your fault or someone else's fault, but the fact is, once they raise your rates, guys, that situation with the pull down ladder happened in 2017. Our rates didn't go down until like right before the fucking coronavirus. So like, think about it, guys. One claim, it took 3 years for, and like, we didn't have any other claims. The last claim that was put in, it had to been, I think it was that sprinkler. That sprinkler happened in 2018. That was the last claim that and I think that insurance company, that's a different insurance company. That insurance company dropped it. So like, we only had 3 insurance companies, and like I said, think about it, guys. We had 3 insurance companies and 2 insurance claims. After each and every claim, no matter how many. Somebody getting ready to get macked up. Hold on, guys. We about to see an accident? I guess not. But all I'm saying is, like, we had 3 insurance companies and 2 insurance claims. Every single insurance company we had, after every claim that got put in, they dropped it. So like, and like I said, guys, every single time, and once again, it's all about your mentality. I don't care, like I said, whose fault it was. Take your emotions, take, the person out of the situation, step back and say, okay, what happened? What could we have done to avoid this from happening? And most importantly, what can we do moving forward to avoid this from happening again? And if you can't answer those questions, like I said, you still might be like in an emotional state. Take your time out. Don't try to, like I said, rectify everything in a second. Take your time out, and like I say, try to step back and rationalize things. Say, you know what? All right, if this was me in this scenario, like I said, same thing I did with my guy that, like I said, that messed up the that flood. Well, he didn't flood anything, but it bubbled the drywall on the attic, like, because of the pan, the coil not being level. I'm like, you know what? Before, like, so I feel some type of way about what he did. All right, what if I was him? Like, what would make me do that? And I'm like, instantly, I'm like, yo, if that attic was 100 degrees, no one's going to voluntarily stay in the 99 degree attic all day. At some point, you're going to be thinking like, okay, how can I do this more efficiently? How can I get done? And guys, like I said, this is human nature. No one's perfect. We're all, every human is capable of error somehow, some way. And our job is to try to eliminate errors, but sometimes shit happens. And that's what I told him. I'm like, and that's why for you guys as training guys, you got to be sure, like I said, not to take away people's confidence. I'm talking like your employees. You can't take away their confidence about, like I said, scolding them, because like, at the end of the day, like I said, everybody's going to fuck up. And also, at the end of the day, everybody was a rookie at some point, And like I said, back to my earlier GMC talks, I was telling y'all, where people telling, and it is what it is, guys. It doesn't matter the person or where this was. Some people will always try to make things harder than what it needs to be. And like, I'm talking like, this is some real shit here. Like, for you guys as training people, I mean, allow them to fuck up, but most importantly, you got to be there for them, like, to help them get through it, to rectify the situation, because, you know, and like I told him, like I said, guys, like I'm a man of many stories. I've seen a bunch of crazy shit. I forgot most of it, like I said, but as I remember these random ass stories, I'm gonna put them in every GMC talks. But I told him, I'm like, yo, like, I mean, it's no big deal. Like I said, you know, if I have to go through our insurance, we'll do it. But I'm like, I mean, this ain't shit. A bubble, you know, a couple of feet of drywall bubble. I mean, I can pay, you know, I can pay the customer for that. That's no big deal. But I'm like, did you learn a lesson? At least now you know. You know, if I got to buy you another level, or I got to put that in our procedures, like we can make sure we're good. But I'm like, you know, it's no point in, like I said, scolding the guy for making a mistake. If it was an honest mistake, you know, did he install the fucking evac coil upside down? At that point, once again, that's on you as the owner or the manager, because they're only doing what you trained them to do, assuming you guys trained them. You get what I'm saying? So, like, that's why, like I said, taking accountability. You can't go wrong, but most importantly, guys, like, I told him, like, man, I'm like, this is back in 2017. I told my guy, I'm like, look, man, shit, you should have seen, if you think this is bad, you should have seen, you know, I told him about the GMC talks that I mentioned in my earlier videos. Like, I'm like, man, back when I was training, like, I ain't had nobody that grabbed me by the shoulder. Like, the only thing I had was like I said, guys, it was sink or swim, and like most of the time, you learn by getting fired. Like, you know, and like I said, it is what it is, guys. Like, after like everything that happened, looking back in hindsight, everything needed to happen the way that it did. And I mentioned this in a bunch of different GMC talks. Like, if I would have had somebody to, like, say, explain things like how I explain to other people, I probably never would have started a business, because I never would have had that desire to want to do anything different. I would have just stayed where I was. But like I said, everything happened for a reason, for me to, like I said, you know, keep taking that initiative to learn more. And like I said, that turned into, you know, a bunch of opportunities, like I said, that, you know, that I can use to help other people out. And like, I mean, everything always works out. But like, shit, I always tell guys, like, you know, like I said, that's why, you know, I mean, I see this all the time, like, either through stories or, like I said, you probably got online stories now about, like, you know, business owners scolding employees. Like, I really don't get the gist behind that. I mean, it really goes back on, like I said, how well you train the person. And also, like I said, training is not 100%, you know, foolproof. You could have, like I said, some crazy shit happen, but, you know, it's on you guys, like I said, to rectify the problem. Once again, guys, I don't want you taking 3 seconds of this video. I mean, make sure you guys have insurance. Don't be a fucking idiot, you know. I think general liability, you can get $1 million or $2 million worth of insurance. Not to say you're going to need it, but like I said, make sure you have it, you know, before, you know, you start handling business. But like, only thing I'm saying, guys, is like I said, these insurance claims, like, the more you had these insurance claims, like, go through your insurance company, guys, like, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna rip you. Like I said, your insurance premium, whatever you're paying now, I don't know what it is, $100, $200, $300 a month, times that by 2. They're gonna, like I said, and like, at this point, like I said, I'm telling you real shit, guys. Like, you know, how I thought insurance company, I'm talking general liability insurance specifically, I thought it was meant to help you out, like I said, if you need them. But guys, like, man, when I told you, like, once I seen that rate go up, I'm like, man, hold on, did I drop my key? Hold on, guys. I dropped my damn key. But yeah, once I seen that rate go up, guys, I'm like, man, like, hell no. Like, I'm paying double. Think about it. I'm paying double the price for something I could have paid out of pocket. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, like, I definitely don't want to see other people make the same mistakes I did. But once again, guys, if you took the mistakes I made, and this is some real shit, if you took the mistakes I made out of my life, like I said, I probably would have made a bigger or worse mistake down the line. So that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes, you know, that illusion of a perfect life, that shit doesn't really exist. Everybody has to go through something negative in order for you to learn. But, you know, will that person have the right mentality? I don't know. Like, because if you don't have the right mentality and you go through something negative, you might end up blaming someone. You know, like, I didn't blame my employee. I didn't blame the customer. I tell everybody shit happens, but it's not like, you know, we don't try to rectify things. It's not like, you know, we don't train to, like I said, avoid problems. But like I said, problems are part of life. There's really nothing you can do. And like I told y'all, I only had 3 claims that I remember. Everything else probably got paid. It was probably minuscule. You know, I'm talking like scratching the floor or something small. I mean, that can get buffed out. That's not really a big deal. But like, I'm talking like serious insurance claims. Like, we only had, like I said, that sprinkler. We had the ladder, and I had that drain thing. And like, that was pretty much it. But like, that was, like I said, I mean, I want you to connect the dots, like I said, on this. And I want you to, like I said, just understand, like, these insurance companies, I mean, they're not really out to get you. I mean, they're not really out to help you out. You got to pay them regardless. But like I said, you know, the only thing you're in control of is, like I said, how you choose to, like I said, you know, process claims. Meaning, like I said, if you got to call something in, worst case scenario, I mean, do what you got to do. They may drop you, but at least, everything you paid them every month, at least you is going to be covered, but at the same time, guys, like that, going through all those claims, man, and have your premium go up, there's no guarantee it's ever going to go back down. That's if they even keep you. Remember, it's on them if they want to keep you, as a person on the insurance policy. So like if they choose to drop you, then like I said, and like I said, guys, it is what the fuck it is. Like you got, even if, like I said, if you choose to pay out of pocket, that's what I recommend doing. If you don't choose to pay for, like I said, issues out of pocket, to deal with that long term, even if they drop you now, guess what's going to happen? Similar to like a person under 25, like I said, maybe you got a accident or something or whatever, a bad driving record under 25. Even if your auto insurance company drop you, guess what's going to happen when you try to get another? It's not like your shit goes away. So like similar to general liability insurance, if you got like 100, let's say hypothetically speaking, if you guys have like 100 claims, and like say your general liability insurance drop you, it's not like the next general liability, your next general liability insurance provider is going to not look up what you've been through before. So now, guys, like if you was paying $300 and God forbid, like I said, you had a bad stringer, like I said, whatever the case is in business, now your insurance company dropped you. Now whoever picks you up just to cover you is probably gonna have to charge you like $800 a month, guys. Like I seen, like I said, my insurance guy, he told me some crazy stories, and I'm like, at the end of the day, like you got to learn from your mistakes. Like that's why. I don't know how you guys operate. I'm hoping you guys are operating, like I said, more efficiently than not, like I said. But to have bullshit like that happen, like imagine, guys, that only happened once. But imagine, like I said, a bigger company having like 20 guys, like I said, start, trying to brush through AC installs, and like I said, now you breaking ladders, and like I said, and messing up, like I said, drywall ceilings. Like, who wants to deal with that? I know that's part of business, but like I said, it's, in my opinion, that's definitely avoidable. You just gotta have common sense. But once again, guys, like I said, I can only tell you what worked for me. Maybe it's going to take some of you guys, like I said, getting hit across the head more to learn. But the game is the game, guys. Like I said, but I'm telling y'all this, like I said, every single one of those occurrences that I went through, like I said, my mentality at that point was way different. Because like I said, and sometimes, guys, like I said, you really don't know what to expect. I'm talking in business, like starting off. You have an idea of how you want things to go, but like I said, you need that practicality as well. That's like having theory knowledge without having hands-on knowledge. Like I'm talking in like 2017, like I had an idea of like how I wanted things to go, but like without, like I said, the actual physical experience, that's why it's important, guys, to like, if you have goals or business or whatever the case is, like you gotta have goals, but you have to have some type of flexibility, because like I said, random shit do happen, guys. Like if you have your goal, if you have your mentality locked on one particular thing, and if it doesn't happen that way, a lot of people just end up giving up, or like I said, they feel some type of way about it. Nah, you can still make it to that goal, but now once shit happens, like I said, once you get that inevitable, resistance from life, like I said, delays, or like I said, negativity or whatever the case is, now you just got to circumvent. That means you got to find a way around it. So it's not really much to it, but once again, guys, like I said, I'm telling you this in hindsight. I already lived through this shit, and I know what to do to avoid certain things from happening, in a negative light. So, like, that's what I'm telling y'all, guys. Like I said, this insurance claim stuff, it's great to have, but like I said, once you understand how it works, you guys will be good. Because, like, now, assuming, like I said, if you guys got other people, everybody that works under you is only as good as, like I said, how you train them. Even if they come in the game with experience, they still need to know, like I said, how you operate, what to do or not to do, like I said, all that other shit. But like I said, if you bring on anyone, I'm talking for you business owners, if you bring on anyone, or like I said, you just assume they know everything, then like I said, they're gonna end up costing you a lot more than what you think. Because like, once something goes left, and like I said, insurance claims start piling up, like, nah, fuck that. I already been there and done that, guys. And like I said, that's what I'm telling y'all. I don't care if it sounds, once again, if it sounds tedious, it sounds repetitive, I don't care. Make sure, like I said, you drill the right procedures into your employee's head. Make sure they know what to do and what not to do. Because I'm telling you, like, that's not a way of staying in business. Like I said, for every one job you do, you stacking up like 10 to 15 insurance claims. Hell no. But guys, I just wanted to get on here and chat with y'all. This wasn't gonna be a long stream. I just want to go in here and chat with y'all about these insurance claims. Like I said, guys, now, auto insurance, general liability insurance, whatever the case is, it's not really got this truck backing up here. It's not really, like I said, a negative. I think most of the stuff is only negative if you don't have experience to it, or if you don't know how it works. But like, you know, with what I had going on, guys, like I said, those 3 claims, especially, guys, you know, that sprinkler claim, like I said, that shit, that had me messed up in the head for a couple weeks, man. Like, seeing seeing that much water, like I said, flow out that apartment, guys, like having like damn near like 400 or 500 people outside. Like, I'm talking, guys, like this building was huge, but it had like different buildings. It was like 5 or 6. They had everybody outside, and I'm like, man, I told myself, like, I wanted to be on TV, but not like this. And I'm like, like I said, I had to go through that experience, man, and I learned from it. You know, and guys, like I said, every scenario I can tell y'all in the negative light, I can tell you the positive I pulled out of that, and I just kept it moving. But like, one of the positives I pulled out of that scenario, just because someone's in charge or they got like a title, that don't mean they know what the fuck they doing. So like, anything with sprinkler, I'm talking like a non-residence home, you know, look for sprinklers. But if you can't look for sprinklers, you know, make sure, like I said, you get the verification from multiple people. Don't just rely on one person. Get the verification from multiple people to know, hey, is there something I can't see that could cause an issue? If there's smoke or there's fire, you know, is there smoke detectors that we have to turn off from the breaker? Or like, you get what I'm saying, guys? Like I said, it's not repetitive, it's not tedious to ask those questions, because I'm telling you, like, I got lucky. Like I said, the fire department came out like within like 10 minutes. But like I said, I was alone 10 minutes, and I'm glad that, like I said, they turned it off before the whole damn building sunk, you know? Because that, like I said, that could have been some Channel 5 news type shit, man. I'm telling you. But guys, with that being said, I just want to get in here and chat with y'all, man, about these damn insurance claims. But what is it, 2026? I mean, we ain't have insurance claims in like 8 years, so now our premium is, I'm talking like what we paying a month, is down there next to nothing. So like, and I mean, of course, the longer you go without claims, like I said, similar to auto insurance, I mean, you get better rates. But like I say, now, you know, I know how the game works, and like I said, guys, I can use it to my advantage. It's not really, you know, I'm not paying $600 a month, like I said, for the same shit someone can get, you know, at a lesser rate, you know. So, but guys, keep rocking and rolling. I got more content, guys. I got a bunch of shirts, like informational shirts. I got a bunch of shirts I got to put out. Like I said, be sure to check that out. And I know I got a few maintenances on the schedule for next week. Hopefully the weather picks up more. But like I mentioned earlier, guys, like if it's cold like this in May, it's gonna be like 100 degrees in October. So either way, guys, summer is gonna get here. Maybe it's taking a little bit longer, but keep it together, guys. And like I said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.